Hi everyone, I am Neha Agrawal, the founder of Wise Up Communications. We at Wise Up help students and young professionals improve their communication skills through interactive workshops. And today we have with us Shreya Sawant, a final year chemical engineering student who will be joining University of California, Berkeley for his masters this fall. In this video, Shreyas is going to share with us his experience, application procedures, GRE and TOEFL scores that got him the admission at UC Berkeley. So, without further delay, let's get started. Hi Shreyas, thank you for joining us. Could you please tell us something about yourself?
Okay, so currently I'm an undergraduate in chemical engineering in my final year, and I'm studying at MIT World Peace University in Pune, India. I'm a person who's particularly interested in biochemical engineering, and I'm planning to have a career in it. And I'm also joining UC Berkeley this August to have a master's degree in bioprocess engineering.
So, Shreyash, could you please tell us your journey to UC Berkeley? How did you get an admit from there, and which universities did you apply to? How did you shortlist these universities?
My first priority was to check the ranking of these universities. So there are many agencies which actually prepare these rankings, but I just only stick with two of these, which were actually QS World University Rankings and Times Higher Education Rankings. So both of these agencies have like different parameters to rank the universities. So what I did was I wanted the universities which appeared in like both of these lists and were in the top 20. So I took out those common universities, and then I sorted it out further by location. I wanted to go to US or Europe. So then I had the list became like, fewer, the universities were fewer. And then there were a few universities which required me to study different languages, like maybe Spanish, Italian, or German. So I did not want to study a new language, so I just left out those universities. And then with the remaining universities, I just looked at what research they do and which research department actually interests me. So I researched on their research departments, and then I had like 10 universities which I wanted to apply to, but I ended up applying to only five of them because I did not have the time, and I could not meet the deadlines. So I left some applications like incomplete and half the way. I did not submit them. And the five universities that I applied to were like UC Berkeley, of course, ETH Zurich, UCLA, Georgia Tech, and TU Delft.
Okay,
And about the
great.
admits, I did get an admit from UC Berkeley, ETH Zurich, and TU Delft.
Wow, so out of the five universities that you applied to, you actually got admits from three of them.
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. And I don't think I've actually heard such a nice conversion ratio from any other student so far. So well
Yes, it was
done.
actually surprising for me too.
All right. So, Shreyash, could you please tell us about your background a little bit in terms of your GRE scores? How did you go about preparing your resume, SOP, all those things?
Okay, so about GRE, I had like preparation for like 5 to 6 months. It
Okay.
was a bit combination of both coaching classes and self-study, but I like do not recommend the coaching classes as compulsory. You can also do self-study and score well in GRE. So for the GRE, you need a lot of practice, and that's what I did. And my GRE score was 318, and I scored like 116 quant and 158 in verbal. The quant section was less, and that is because I had to like I was stressed out because I had to wait for like 2 hours before my actual GRE exam because there was some technical issue. So there was a lot of mental stress. And then again, TOEFL, I thought it was easy. I did get 111 in TOEFL. So I guess if you're good in English and you have had an education in English throughout your childhood, it would be like an easy exam. And about my resume, all of the universities that I applied to, they had resume as the mark compulsory in their application procedure. So the thing with resume is that you might have a lot of like achievements, work experience, or qualifications, but you don't know the right method to list them properly so that the person viewing it gets to know like your journey with just like one document, and that too it should be like very compact and attractive. So many students don't know that, and fortunately I happen to know that from you because I had attended your resume workshops. So I got to know how to like fit in your all the information, including the right keywords, which are very important, and how to just fit that data into a chronological order. So that really helped me. And also during my interview for UC Berkeley, the professor who was interviewing me, he complimented me that I had a very impressive resume. So yes,
Wow.
thank you for that.
Wow, that's actually great to hear. So, on that, I would like to ask you, how was your interview for UC Berkeley like? And what are some of the questions that were asked to you?
Okay. So actually, I had expected that the interview would be technical, but it was not technical. The professor was more interested in knowing how really interested I am in
Oh.
their degree program, which is that bioprocess engineering. So he just wanted to know what my future goals are, what I
Hmm.
would like to do after getting a master's degree in bioprocess engineering. How I would apply my knowledge that I gained there at UC Berkeley,
Hmm.
and what made me choose their university.
So, Shreyash, a lot of students face trouble with their SOPs. When you were preparing your SOP, what were some of the challenges that you faced and how did you go about it?
Okay, so preparing SOP takes a lot of time.
Hmm.
And one challenge that I would say is that I did not have a lot of time to prepare my SOP
Hmm.
because I finished my GRE and TOEFL like in October, and most of the deadlines were in December. And you need 3 LOAs, that also takes a lot of time. So you need to like give at least a month to prepare the SOP.
Hmm. Hmm.
And the first thing was I did not know what all things go into the SOP and if there was any particular format to make the SOP. So what I did was I talked to a few seniors who were studying at U Delft and ETH
Hmm.
Zurich. So I asked
Hmm.
them just as to what all things go in the SOP. I did not ask for their SOP as a
Hmm.
reference because that is not what you should do. You have to be a lot of genuine
Original.
when you
Yeah.
are, yes, they look at originality when they are evaluating a SOP. So yes, I just asked them as to what all things go into that, and then I got to know that the SOP includes like why you want to do this degree, why this particular
Hmm.
university, what do
Hmm.
you like about the research that they are doing at that university, any particular research group that you
You'd
want
like to
to
join.
be a part of,
Hmm.
and your future plans and extracurriculars and all the projects or anything that you have done that is helping you that like apply to that program. So that was
Right.
all about the SOP.
Okay, that's good. Nice. So, Shreyash, both UC Berkeley and ETH Zurich, they are fantastic universities. So, how did you even make a decision that you want to go with UCB and not ETH Zurich? Like, how did you decide?
This decision was like one of the toughest decisions that I have to made so far, and I was thinking on this for over a month as to which university should I go to because getting accepted into ETH Zurich was like a surprise for me because they don't usually accept students who are not from IITs or ICT, and I don't belong to IIT or ICT being a chemical engineer. So that was a big surprise. And so to decide this, I talked to a lot of people, to my professor at my university. He's also a mentor. So I talked with him. I talked to students studying at ETH Zurich, students studying at UC Berkeley. I talked with
Hmm.
you, and also to one student studying at NUS Singapore and TU Delft. So, okay, so after hearing from all of them, what I got to know that uh, I have to make the selection keeping in mind what are my long-term goals. So my
Hmm.
long-term goal is to like get a job in a biotech company or work in a biochemical industry. And UC Berkeley, being located in the San Francisco Bay Area, it has
Hmm.
a, lot of well-established biotech companies and also biotech startups. So the Bay Area has a immense number of opportunities for jobs. And as compared to that, Zurich, which is in Switzerland, the scenario is not very good or favorable for you if you're coming from India. Because I talked to a student who is studying process engineering at ETH.
Hmm.
He's from India, and he told me that when you apply for like a job or when you're giving the interview, the companies usually prefer Swiss students first, then Europeans, and at last non-Europeans. So we are like at the third position in the list, and
Hmm.
also some companies have the prerequisites like they need you to learn German language in order to work
Hmm.
in the company, and I did not want to learn another language. So that was one reason for me not choosing ETH Zurich because I had job opportunities, like more
Better it.
job opportunities at, yes, UC Berkeley. The
Hmm.
second reason would be the course that UC Berkeley is offering. It
Hmm.
is giving me a chance to specialize in bioprocess engineering. So I will just study the subjects and perform like experiments in lab which are related to bioprocess engineering. This is what I like and what I want to do.
Hmm.
Whereas in ETH, I would have to like study other subjects, and it would have been difficult for me to like contact a particular professor and then check if he has some research topics that particularly related to biochemical engineering. So that was another reason for not choosing ETH.
Okay. All right. So, Shreyash, what stage are you at right now with UC Berkeley? Have you already got your F1 visa? Because we know that we are amidst a pandemic. So, what's happening right now? I think a lot of students are also facing this issue, which is why they are also very nervous whether they should even apply to abroad universities at that time, at this time or not. So, what's happening right now for you?
Okay, as you said, it is difficult to get a visa interview appointment right now because because of the restrictions of the
Hmm.
COVID-19. We have lockdowns in many states, and it's really difficult to get an appointment. And my program is starting at in August. It will be starting in
Hmm.
August, but I don't have a visa appointment right now, so I'm
Hmm.
not sure if I will be able to reach UC Berkeley in time. And for students who are applying for like next year, I don't think they will face the same situation
Hmm.
because by then the situation would definitely have improved. So I don't think they would have any problem. Think they should apply to the universities.
Okay, all right. So, Shreyash, getting into UC Berkeley is not easy, right? And we all know that it's actually not possible to know what the admission committee likes in your profile. But what, according to you, was something that stood out in your application when you were going for UC Berkeley?
Okay, so I think there was no unique point that got me an admit from UC Berkeley. I think the admission committee looks at the overall profile when they give you an admit. So a little bit of everything matters. So your SOP has to be strong. You
Hmm.
have to get strong LORs from your the ones who are recommending you.
Hmm.
Then again, scores. UC Berkeley does not require GRE score, but they do ask for TOEFL score and your transcripts, your CGPA, and again you also have to like crack the interview that they take. So
Hmm.
yes, so all these things matter when you have to get an admit, and UC Berkeley is known to be like very selective when they're usually giving an admit. So it's difficult, but yes, it is also possible.
Nice, great. So, Shreyash, hopefully you will get into UC Berkeley on time. But what are your plans after UCB? What do you want to do ahead in your career after your master's?
Okay, so I would definitely like to explore the field of like bioprocess engineering more,
Hmm.
and that would happen if I get a job in a biotech company. And so I would like to work in industries for a few years and like update my skills, my technical knowledge, the what actually happens in the bioprocessing industry. I would like to know that. And then when I have acquired enough skills, I would like to have a startup of my own someday. So that is my plan after masters. And I
Nice.
also want to help students who actually want to have a career in chemical engineering. So once I have gathered enough financial resources, I can maybe provide some scholarships to students someday.
Wow, wonderful. That's such a noble idea. That's great. And finally,
Thank
Shreyash,
you.
I would like to really thank you for joining us today and taking out the time. What would be your one final advice to students who are planning to study abroad?
Okay, so for students who want to study abroad, believe in yourself. If there are people who are telling you that you cannot get into particular universities, like do not listen to them and do not let yourself down, and be genuine when you're like preparing your SOP, and just like be confident when you're applying for it, and just have a proper timeline planned because time is of the essence. You cannot manage to meet the deadlines sometimes, so
Right.
just manage the time properly.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Shreyash. Thanks for joining us. It was wonderful talking to you.
Yes, thank you, Neha ma'am, for providing me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks.